to make a half of a granny square. So let's give you a full granny square for comparison. So this is what your full granny square would look like. This is what the half would look like. I am going to show you how to do it. I'm going to cover 4 rows. So we'll start with here with the blue, pink, and then this green, and then we'll end with the string. And then after that, you are going to be well on your way. You'll be able to recognize the kind of the repeat pattern, and you'll be well on your way to do however many rows that you need. So let's go ahead and get started. I am using Paint Box yarns. This is their 100% recycled cotton worsted. And I am going to be using a size 4.5 millimeter hook. All right, we're going to begin by making a magic circle. So go ahead and make a loop just as if you were going to tie a regular knot, and then flip it over in your hand so that that working yarn is coming out and up and over the loop. Okay, you're going to insert your hook from front to back, and you're going to snatch that yarn and pull it up, yarn over and pull through. And this is your slip knot onto your hook. All right, so now we're going to start by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now that chain counts as your first double crochet and your first turning chain. Okay, so then straight into your magic circle, you're going to make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. All right, then you're going to chain 2. You're going to make 3 more double crochets into the circle. 1, 2, 3. All right, going to make 1 chain, and now 1 final double crochet into the circle. Okay, and now that is the center of your half granny square. Go ahead and pull on that tail and tighten the magic circle at this point. Okay. Fasten off however you would like. I don't actually fasten off. I simply just leave my last stitch, and then I snip enough of a yarn tail to weave in later, and then I just pull this through. This for me makes less of a bump right here along the edge as you're coming along and working, you know, kind of weaving in all of your ends. That's just how I prefer to change colors in a granny square. So if some people like to fasten off all the way, snip, and then add a new color, this is how I do it, and I come back and I deal with it later. All right, so now this is going to be the wrong side. So that side that we were just working is going to be the back. You're going to flip over like this, and our second row, we're going to work this direction. Okay, so this has become the side right here. And now we're going to start working in this direction. Okay, so bring in your second color. My next color is the peachy color. All right, and I am going to show you how I add my second color in my granny square. Insert your hook through the top of that last double crochet that you made. Okay, and pull in your new color, leaving enough yarn tail to weave in later. So snatch your yarn and pull it through that stitch and pull up. And then what I do is I actually bring in a yarn over with both strands and pull through, okay? And then what I do is I take my hook out and I find that yarn tail that I'm going to weave in, and I pull that all the way through. Okay, and that is how I bring in my new yarn, okay? And then put your yarn back on your hook and pull tightly. Okay, that doesn't count as a chain or anything, that's just adding your new yarn. And that method, what that does is it just kind of adds a nice clean, again, there's no bump from slip knot or rejoining with a slip stitch or any of it. That's just a nice smooth transition there, okay? So now what we're gonna do for the first stitch of this row is we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, this counts as your first double crochet of the round plus 1 turning chain. All right, so now what you'll notice is this first gap right here where that first chain or that last chain was that you made. You made a chain and then a double crochet to end this first round. Okay, so right where that chain is, we're going to make our first 3 double crochet cluster. All right, so we're working again in this direction. This is the right side facing now. Okay, so we're going to do 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now if it's helpful, at this point, I like to mark the top of my turning chain, this one right here, where I'm gonna actually be placing my last stitch when I come back around, because it can be hard to figure that out sometimes when turning chains count as stitches. It can be confusing to where that top of it is. And so when I'm counting backwards, I just made these 3 double crochets here. Okay, so I have 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then I have my 1 turning chain, and then I have this part of the chain, this stitch of that chain, which was the 3rd chain that I made, is going to be where I'm going to make my stitch when I'm coming back around. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that because it's just easier for me. I'm a big fan of stitch marking things that are hard to find. All right, so there's our first cluster of this round. We're not going to make any chains or anything in between our clusters. We're going to go straight into this, which is our corner, and we're going to make 3 double crochets into this 2 chain gap here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to make our corner. So we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into that exact same place. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that is our corner. You just made that. Look at it from this direction. Okay, and now you're going to locate this chain 1 space that you made, your very first chain 1 space that you made, and you're going to place 3 double crochets in there as well. And at this point, before I do that, which I should have done to begin, I am going to locate that chain that I made that is going to become my final stitch, where I place my final stitch as well, okay? Just like I did on this side. And mark that with a stitch marker. All right, so I'm going to come back here and pick back up where I left off. All right, so now I'm going to place 3 double crochets straight into this chain space right here, this gap. 1, 2, 3. Okay, chain 1, and then you're going to make a double crochet into the top of that turning chain right where I placed that stitch marker. So I'm going to take that stitch marker out. I'm going to place my final double crochet into that top of that turning chain. All right, and then just like before, I'm going to snip enough to weave in and pull that through. Okay, so that is round 2. You've got, now you can really start to see the little corner here going on. All right, so I'm going to turn my work. All right, I'm going to bring in my 3rd color. This one I'm using sea green. Okay, I'm going to show you again how I join. So that final double crochet that you just made, go ahead and insert your hook into that stitch. Bringing in my new color, I yarn over and just pull it right through. Okay, then bring it up and I yarn over with both strands and pull both of those through. Okay, then I locate which one is this yarn tail and I pull that one all the way through. this one. Okay, put my hook back in, tighten it down. That's how I make my color changes. Okay, and then I'm also going to tighten down on the pink. Okay, now I've got my new color attached. Okay, so again, to begin my row, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That serves as my first double crochet and my first chain space. Right, then right into this chain space here from the row before, I'm going to place 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring my stitch marker in. This next one is the top of my turning chain. Right, so carrying on with my next double crochet cluster, I'm going to skip. Again, we're not chaining in between the clusters. We're going to go straight into this next chain space right here with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and again, right into our corner here with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Then we're making our corner, so we're going to chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into that same chain space. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there we've got our corner. Straight into this next chain space, or I'm sorry, not chain space, this next gap in between our double crochet clusters. We're going to go 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And right into our final chain space here, we'll go 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now we're going to do chain 1 and do 1 double crochet into the top of that turning chain right where I had marked that turning chain, top of the turning chain stitch. So take your marker out and place 1 double crochet into that turning chain. All right, so that is row 3. Let's go ahead and snip and pull through. Okay, I'm going to do one more with you. You can really see it coming together now. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my final color. This is the color String in the Paint Box Yarns Recycled Cotton. Okay, so go ahead and turn your work. Okay, so we're working again back up to the corner and across to the other side. All right, place your hook through that first double crochet of the row. Bring in your new color. If you prefer joining colors a different way, then that is totally fine. This is just how I join it. Okay, pulling through that yarn tail. Tighten up that last double crochet from the previous row. Okay, so we've joined. I'm going to just do this final row with you, and then I think you'll kind of get the gist of it. You can come back and refer back to this as needed. Okay, so you're going to begin your row with a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to place your stitch marker at this point too, you can do that. I'll go ahead and show you how I do that. So the chain of 4 is our first double crochet and our first chain space. The first double crochet is the 3 chains, and then that final chain is the chain space. Okay, so the top of the turning chain where we're going to place our final stitch is going to be in that 3rd chain. So I'm going to mark that 3rd chain. Okay, so you can do it that way. All right, so right away into that very first chain space from the row below, we're going to do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Right, identifying that next gap in between those double crochet clusters, 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all the way over to the corner. Okay, so again in this one, 3 double crochet. So as your rows build on each other, you're always going to have one more of these cluster spaces as your rows get longer. So you're going to keep working in this same fashion all the way to the corner every time. And then in the corner, you do your 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. And that's what's making each of these corners build on each other, okay? So here we're at a corner, so 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into that same space. 1, 2, 3 for our corner. All right, double crochet clusters in each of these gaps along this side. So 3 double crochets into this next gap. 1, 2, 3, 3 in this next gap. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we've got our final chain space here. We're going to do 3 double crochets into that space. Whoop. All right, so then to end our row, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to place our final double crochet into this turning chain. Okay, so that ends our 4th row. So snip, pull through. All right, so go ahead and just repeat that same method. The beginning of your row, the end of your row, they're going to be the same. You're going to work through each of these gaps between your double crochet clusters all the way to your corner. You'll make your corner. You'll work each of the gaps all the way to the end. Don't forget that final gap here. And then you always end with that chain and then that double crochet at the end. All right, and then when you reach your desired size of your half granny square, you'll just come back, tighten up these corners, and then just tie them off and weave them in on the back. And you will end up with a nice clean half granny square.
Don't forget to join our website offthebeatenhook.com for lots of free patterns, video tutorials, and tons of downloadable essential crochet resources. Happy hooking!